Okay, looks like we are live, connecting. Wait a few seconds.
Okay.
We're good to go.
Good to go. Hello, everyone. Welcome to this session. Well, this session is basically the coastal blue economy, promoting sustainable development through environmental conservation. And our speaker is Anna Chow Mkombola. I hope I pronounced that properly. Did I, Anna?
Yes, you did.
Okay, no problem. So basically, here we're talking about promoting sustainable development. I know some of you might know a lot about sustainable development goals, and yeah, basically talking around that topic. Now we have an expert in the house who's going to be able to tell us all about it, and I'm going to give her a chance to introduce herself so that we can proceed with the talk. Uh, Over to you, Anna.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to present. Uh, okay, my name is Antolia Chom Kombola. I hope everyone is seeing my screen.
I can see
Yes.
your screen.
Okay. So I'm supposed to present about coastal blue economy promoting sustainable development through environmental conservation. And I've told you my name is Antolia Chom Kombola, but most people call me Anna. That's why they wrote my name as Anna. I'm a conservationist at Big Ship CBO and currently also a student at Kisii University studying fisheries, a Masters of Science in Fisheries. So I'll be completing my studies this year. Uh, let's go right into it. And first, what is sustainable development? First, for us to understand how we're going to promote sustainable development through environmental conservation, we must know what is sustainable development. And one, sustainable development, according to the Brundtland report, we say sustainable, it's trying to meet the needs of the present generations without compromising the ability of meeting the needs of the future. And the basic principle, okay, sustainable development has a lot to, to talk about within its window, but the basic principle of sustainable development is conservation of our ecosystems. Like we know human needs are a lot. We have a lot of human needs, but then we have limited resources. How do we satisfy our unlimited wants with limited resources? So currently we are focusing so much on sustainable use of ocean resources, which is according to SDG 14. And this SDG still meets or marries with the other SDGs. And you can see there photo telling us like if we don't conserve what we have today, our generation will even have to go for 3 exhibitions of museum just to see a little trip. So we have to do something about our conservation. Focusing on blue economy, we've said why are we currently focusing on blue economy? It's because ocean has a huge potential in terms of exploration and exploitation. And therefore, we need to conserve the ocean, but not just conserve it, we have to involve the coastal communities because we cannot just conserve alone. And ecosystems such as mangrove forests play a huge role. And even you can talk about fisheries being still sustained by mangrove forests. And also you can talk about transportation and all the other things surrounding the economy. Uh, Next, I'll talk about environmental conservation programs because now here our topic we're trying to relate how sustainable development, how we can bring in sustainable development through environmental conservation. So when we talk about that, definitely you have to point out at environmental conservation programs. And first, I'll talk about its importance and challenges. Definitely, you know why. From what you've said, you know why we should do conservation according to the sustainable development goal. And we have debates. There are a lot of debates about, should we conserve, should we not conserve. There are even people who don't believe that there is climate change. But what do we have to say in this point? Like I'm saying, um, conserve as much as the environment has um, a self-resilient mechanism. Like there is a way in which human interventions, which are on the negative, the human negative interventions, can make the environment unable to become as resilient as it's supposed to be. So you can see, I'm sometimes I do write some articles, so I've placed a link there so that in case you want to see more about my stories, I guess you can check. And I'm trying also to, in a funny way, to talk about. You see the picture there where those people denying that there is no climate change, or those who are against or think conservation should not be such a big deal. Um, like you can see from the picture, like someone saying like if we turn up the heat, will then I don't notice that you're in here with me. Like we think that it's only the animals that you conserve. You don't know that it's even our livelihoods that you're trying to protect. Um, Next, environmental conservation programs. We're talking about the challenges here now. No, the importance first. We know that conservation helps to maintain the ability to degrade ecosystems, and also helps in maintaining biodiversity. So from the pictures you can see, degraded site has been planted and now it's a full mangrove forest. Environmental conservation program, also we can talk about the challenges. Conservation and rehabilitation has challenges. I'm from Kenya, so I'm going to talk about Kenyan challenges, those that I've experienced while we were doing our community-based uh, conservation programs. And one of it is overexploitation, and this is due to high population pressure and poverty. People are poor and they're trying to use the resource that is close to them so that they can sustain their lives. And then there's also poor urban planning. Like if you come to Mombasa area where I've I've interacted with the community, you can see even communities building right inside the mangrove forest. And that is something you cannot even do a lot about it, because unless there was good urban planning, then you could not be having such problems. And then also there is inadequate funding in terms of conservation programs. Like you find people stretching a lot when it comes to funding conservation, and even have problems with things like politics. I've heard from the other sessions and some few speakers that I've had, they are mentioning politics coming at a center of conservation programs. Like you will find like you trying to help so that people can have justice, but there are people who have self-interest, and those people are usually normally rich. And at times when you go and they try to find their way, and at the end of the day you have nothing, even if you complain. So those are some of the challenges to environmental conservation. But even when we talk about all those challenges and even maybe the importance, what do you think is the solution? For me, or from all the people that I've interacted with during our conservation programs, from my experience, even though it's not that much big, I think uh, conservation programs could be counterproductive. But if they are, it's when we decide to just focus on not the people, but the main goal. Like let's say we just say, oh, we're just conserving because we need to do conservations. Maybe we really have to make sure that people are not cutting trees and all that. People are not fishing and all that. But if we don't focus on the people themselves, because they're the people who own those resources in some way, we're going to lose. We're not going to win this fight. People depend on ecosystems, as I said, I've said, for basic needs and even spiritual and cultural gains. So we have to make sure that we let them access those resources. But at the same time, they should understand why should we conserve, and even times drive something that they can see, profits that are tangible. Like if they can engage in ecotourism and even gain from it, gain economically from it, then they will be there to conserve their resource and they will realize, oh, this is my resource. Okay. So even when we talk, we give suggestions and solutions on how we're going to promote sustainable development through environmental programs, where do we begin? Where do I start? So I'm going to talk about the case study of the Chief Community-Based Organization, which I've been working with. Actually, I completed my undergraduate in 2016, and I joined Big Ship in 2017. So I've been there. Those times I go back and study, but I've been there as a volunteer and as a conservationist since then. And first, I think we should begin with our small contributions, and those efforts that we have, they really, really, really matter. Like as much as it feels small, like you cannot put a lot in the whole world, the piece of the whole world, but you can do something. And first, I'll talk about Big Ship Conservation CBO, and how it has done the little that it had to do. So the organization is focused on blue economy and community empowerment, and have been doing this for more than a decade. Since about 2008, Big Ship has been mangrove conservation, waste material recovery, and even community empowerment and education. And okay, um, this is the area that Big Ship does its work. It's around Sugar Creek in Mikindani, Mombasa, Kenya. Mombasa is along the Kenyan coast where the ocean, along the Kenyan coast, yeah, yeah, you understand from there. And then, so there we do a lot of mangrove restoration programs. I'll talk about mangrove restoration much because that's what I've been doing. That is what I know best, and that is what I've been working with. That is what I've been doing all my time in YouTube. And mangrove conservation, the exercises there involve putting up mangrove nurseries, and mostly we deal with species of Rhizophorus micronata in Syrup Tagal because that can be easily found. Other species are a bit, yeah, it's difficult to find them. And then you do site mapping because we really need to know which are the open spaces or the degraded areas that we need to plant and restore. And then also we do monitoring because it's not just about planting trees. We really need to know, are these trees growing? Like it's growth. It's not even planting. It's growing trees. And also the organization involves itself with resource mobilization and advocacy, so that we are not just planting trees, so that also we can talk about those people who are trying to cut those trees. We can talk about uh, legislative side of it, aspect of it. We can talk about how do we bring other private sectors to help us conserve these trees. Okay, so let's talk about the mangrove restoration program. The program is coupled with also alternative livelihoods to help community drive profits. So this is where I'm talking about sustainable development. We're not just conserving trees, we're not just conserving our resources, but we're trying to make sure that the community benefits, drives real profits, so that they don't just say, oh, you're just conserving, or maybe you just lock animals in a let's say a zoo or a park, yeah, and then at the end of the day just say, "Ah, here, these are the animals." You just tell the community, no, you have to conserve these animals. They will not do it. In fact, poverty, people will even come inside the park and start shooting those animals, selling the parts, eating meat, and all that. So that's why we try to make sure that we have alternative livelihoods, so that when we're not telling people to cut trees, we know where we are directing their efforts. And mostly we base on youth and women because those are the most affected people that we try to deal with. So we do beekeeping, and beekeeping is a model in such that we give farmers register, we give them the hives, and then they use the hives, and then also we now look for the markets so that we get profits. So as you can see, we branded the product Asali Nkoko. Asali Nkoko in Kiswahili, it means honey from the mangroves. Yeah. And then also we do engage youth in waste collection. There is a garbage waste collection facility where they go collecting waste from different households, and then they get paid for it. So the household, people who live in those houses, they pay, and then the youth can get something little from there, just than being idle in the in the area. And then also selling seedlings. It's another thing that we do, and there are even other things coming up from it. Like we have also child sponsorship program with in partnership with World Yeah, it's in partnership with World Fund. Something, yeah, I'm forgetting. Sorry. um, they do what they do is like they employ youths who go around studying different kinds of children. Like you register a child, then the child is monitored. So with those people, imagine they're employed, and also the kids learn from them, and we try and incorporate some of food sustainability programs and also environmental programs. So kids get to learn how to just to conserve the environment, and also how to make sure that they make like kitchen gardens, things like those, so that at least they can help their families with food at home. And yeah, so those are some of the things that you do. And then also there is this part of environmental advocacy in education. This is a pillar, like one of the major things that you need to do when you want to have sustainable development. Like the basis of everything is the community. We cannot run from the community. That's it. So the community has to understand why. Why are we doing this? Are we supposed to why are we supposed to conserve our environment? And the organization, the CBO, acts as a link between the local government and the people. So we're trying to make sure that we make the local government accountable for the environmental injustices that happen in Mombasa. At the same time, we're trying to make people understand their rights and know why they should conserve, and even see the value in the resources, the ocean and even the mangroves and the fisheries and everything within the Mombasa County. And then uh, what are the successes and the progress that you have had with the program? More than 150 seedlings have been planted and monitored. And then we have the analysis. Actually, we work with other organizations, and one of the organizations that works with us when it comes to monitoring is Syrops. It's called Syrops Tagal organization. We work with it in terms of monitoring. They help us monitor, and then we also do some stuff with them. Like you can see the analysis of the area. This is the Big Ship area, as I had shown you earlier. And you can see this is in 2016. Your photo, your image on the right is showing the area in 2016, sorry. And then on the image on your, this is my left, left, right. Okay, the other image is showing 2020. And you can see there is loss. The analysis of the area in 2016 shows a loss of 11%, that is 0.3 kilometers square, and growth of 5%. But on the other hand, we can see that we have a loss of 1%, like meaning cutting trees like is going down, and even growth of the forests, the growth of trees that you're planting has grown by 10%. Like you can see that there is progress. Like we're covering some distance in terms of um, sealing the open spaces that we believe had once had uh, species of mangroves. And also, apart from the progress that we've made with the preservation of the forest, you can see that there is a lot of youth engagement through entertainment and other empowerment programs, like including ecotourism. We've also had a project with community scouts where now youths become the scouts of they protect their resource. Like they realize, no, we cannot let people just come here and cut trees, because there's some people who come cut trees from that forest and then they go through the boats. Others come and make illicit brew, and it's a problem. Like people are even have security concerns. But now when you have community scouts, people who can come in and say, yes, I know you and you're from my community, please don't do this again. We reduce the illegal logging and illicit brew making within the forest. So you can see there we have, oh, sorry. You can see there we have the uh, boat riding, something like that. And then you also have shrimps and fisheries are growing because of the improved state of the forest. And then another thing is uh, the beekeeping project. Actually, Asali Mukoko had some challenges since it started around 20, it started in 2018. Yeah. And at first, it had some problems picking up because some people couldn't understand what it was all about. And also convincing people that it can be profitable is a bit difficult. But in 2019, we managed to register 30 farmers. Right now, we've registered more and more farmers. So it's more than 30 farmers. And in 2019 alone, they produced about 400 kgs of honey, which was sold around Mombasa area. And there have been also another success is that we have increased partnership and stakeholders alliances because we believe that we need to have unity and cooperate together so that we don't have several different efforts in mangrove conservation and fisheries and all that, so that you can have a synergy, you can have unity in terms of how we're going to conserve our environment. So having stakeholder engagements and uh, an alliance is good. It will help improve the restoration efforts. So what is the way forward? Planting more trees, of course, and improving them on monitoring programs. Uh, Actually, at first, when Big Ship was starting, that was before it came in, it started like a group just planting trees like that. Like planting trees, making sure that the forest is well conserved, like there are no people cutting trees. And then with time it grew and we realized that we cannot be just planting trees. The idea was we first have to look at the site, we make sure that where we're planting trees, it's where those trees are supposed to be. We need to know the species that we're planting. Why should we plant on this space? We need also to know how we're going to make sure that these trees grow and how we're going to make sure that the success rates have improved. So that we don't have like we planted a lot of trees and then only two maybe survive. We have to make sure that the success rate is at least at 80 to 90, even at least 95%. And that has been informing how we're going to monitor and making sure that the planting becomes more productive. And then not forgetting that you need to bring in the community. So the community comes in when you're planting. We make sure that the community knows, and even people come as volunteers. And also on that day, maybe we provide refreshments and then talk to the people and tell them why you're doing this and how it is going to help them and the future generation. And then also we have a program known as Adopt a Site. We will bring in the corporates in terms of CSRs and yeah, volunteering, so they can also help in planting the tree because according right now in Kenya we're trying to reach the 10% cover and we are not there. We are at about 7.2%. So we really need everyone to come out and help reach that tree cover, but also help in blue economy because also we are focusing on that area and mangrove restoration is key in blue economy and also
Hi, Anna.
sustainable development. Okay, I'm finishing. And then we also need collaboration with other partners. And yeah, that was actually my last slide. So I'll say conservation begins with you. The small you do is important. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Round of applause for Anna, guys. Anna, what a beautiful presentation, and you actually finished sort of right on time, and you all thank you so much for that. And I was just going to say we have two questions, but unfortunately we've run out of time. But we have a discussion session at 3:05, whereby everyone's gonna discuss, and we're gonna discuss everything holistically as a whole. So unfortunately to Naphtali and Hillary, sorry for that. We're going to have to shift your questions and then put them into the discussion session at 3 so that we don't overlap too much on the sessions that are left. Otherwise, Anna, thank you so much for your wonderful talk. And actually, Kenya's in my heart, eh? President Kenyatta, I love how that man thinks. And yeah, okay, thank you so much, guys, for the session. So now we can shift to the other ones. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks again, Anna.
Okay, bye. Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys.
Okay.